New photos of Suri Cruise have once again stirred up curiosity about the young woman who's lived her whole life in a spotlight she never chose. In the shots taken outside her New York home, the 19-year-old daughter of Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes sits quietly on a stone step, her head slightly bowed, hands covering part of her face, as if deep in thought. Wearing a navy jacket and dark pants, she looks peaceful, yet distant, almost lost in her own world. Moments later, Katie Holmes steps into frame holding a coffee cup, her calm and caring energy instantly shifting the scene. She sits beside her daughter, leans in, says something softly, and the two soon rise, walking side by side through a quiet Manhattan street toward a nearby bakery. It's a simple, human moment between a mother and daughter who've both learned how to navigate attention without feeding it. It's been years since Suri's face was a fixture on magazine covers, yet every new sighting feels like déjà vu for the public. Born in April 2006 at the peak of Hollywood's obsession with the Tomcat era, she became a symbol of what was once called the perfect celebrity love story. Back then, her father was one of the biggest movie stars in the world, while her mother, fresh off her Dawson's Creek fame, was America's sweetheart. Together, they were glamorous, adored, and endlessly photographed. From the moment Suri was born, the tabloids followed every detail. Her baby outfits, her first steps, even the way her dad held her during red carpet appearances. Her childhood became public property long before she had a say in it. She was barely 2 years old when she became the face of Hollywood's obsession with star-studded families, innocence wrapped in glamour. But as the years went on and her parents' relationship began to fall apart, that picture-perfect image started to fade. When Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes divorced in 2012, the split rocked the entertainment world. It wasn't just a breakup. It felt like the end of a fantasy the public had built around them. Katie was given primary custody of Suri and moved with her to New York City, far from the Hollywood spotlight that had defined their lives. Tom, who stayed deeply connected to the Church of Scientology, reportedly saw less of his daughter after that. For Suri, who was only 6 at the time, everything changed overnight. She went from being constantly photographed beside 2 global icons to living quietly with her mom in Manhattan's West Village. Katie made a conscious choice to protect her daughter's privacy, later explaining that she wanted her to experience a genuine, grounded childhood, and she actually pulled it off. Over the next several years, Suri grew up mostly out of the public eye, going to private school, forming close friendships, and exploring her own passions. When she was occasionally spotted walking to class, shopping with her mom, or attending small cultural events, she seemed calm, self-assured, and refreshingly normal for someone who grew up under such intense attention. People often point out how close Katie and Suri are. Their bond seems less like that of a celebrity parent and child, and more like 2 best friends facing the world together. Katie, who reinvented herself quietly after the divorce, poured her energy into giving her daughter a stable, grounded life. She didn't sell stories, start a reality show, or chase headlines. She built a home filled with peace and purpose instead. Holmes focused her time on meaningful work, choosing smaller film and theater projects that reflected her own values while keeping Suri her top priority. When she directed Rare Objects in 2023, she dedicated the film to her daughter, calling her an incredible person. It wasn't a flashy Hollywood stunt. It was a heartfelt moment of pride from a mother to her child. Their lives now may seem modest compared to Tom Cruise's larger-than-life image, but that's exactly what makes them stand out. Fans admire Katie not just for surviving a high-profile split, but for doing it with grace, focus, and love that never needed a spotlight. Through it all, Suri grew into a graceful, confident young woman, tall, poised, and carrying a perfect blend of her mother's gentle beauty and her father's striking gaze. If Katie and Suri's connection became a symbol of quiet strength, Tom Cruise's absence came to represent something far more bittersweet, a reminder that fame can never replace real presence. Over the years, reports have suggested that Tom has remained distant from his daughter since the 2012 split, while he's continued to support her financially, covering her education and living expenses. His personal involvement has appeared minimal. The reasons, though never publicly confirmed, are often connected to his long-standing ties with the Church of Scientology, where he remains deeply dedicated. Many believe the group's strict structure has made maintaining relationships with those outside its circle complicated, a factor some think may have contributed to the long silence between him, Katie, and Suri. Whatever the truth may be, that distance has lasted more than a decade. In interviews, when asked about his daughter, Tom often redirects the conversation toward his work. In one especially tense moment, when a reporter brought up Father's Day, he simply smiled and said, "I work." The world saw a man who could pull off incredible on-screen feats, scaling cliffs, flying jets, and defying gravity, yet seemed unable to bridge the quiet emotional gap between himself and his only biological daughter. That contrast has haunted public imagination for years. Suri, meanwhile, has grown stronger in her own right, no longer the little girl the media once followed everywhere, but a grounded young woman building her own path away from the Hollywood noise. By her late teens, she had already transformed from a celebrity child into someone defining herself on her own terms, choosing peace, purpose, and privacy over spotlight and spectacle. Now 19, Suri Cruise stands at a fascinating crossroads. A young woman whose name still carries the weight of Hollywood legend, yet whose life today feels worlds apart from that glittering image. She's grown up quietly, rarely seen at industry events, and never chasing fame the way her parents once did. For many, that privacy has only made her more intriguing. Every rare public sighting sparks a fresh wave of conversation, not because of scandal or controversy, but because people can't help but wonder, who is Suri Cruise now? Those close to her describe her as intelligent, grounded, and fiercely independent. She's reportedly enrolled at a respected college in New York, focusing on creative studies, a field that reflects both her mother's artistic instincts and her own modern sense of purpose. Though she could have easily used her last name to step into modeling or acting, she's chosen a slower, quieter route, letting her work and her identity speak for themselves. That restraint, in an age of viral fame, feels almost revolutionary. People who have crossed paths with her often comment on her kindness and calm demeanor. There's no trace of entitlement, no Hollywood attitude, just a young woman who seems to have learned early on that attention is a double-edged sword. Some classmates have mentioned that she blends in easily, not relying on the famous name that once defined her childhood. And while she occasionally gets photographed walking through Soho or grabbing coffee in the Village, she doesn't perform for cameras. She simply lives her life. That ability to exist naturally, without chasing publicity, might be her most powerful legacy from Katie Holmes. Katie's careful parenting seems to have given Suri the confidence to create her own space, where fame doesn't define her worth. Holmes spent years rebuilding her life after the divorce, and in doing so, she modeled resilience for her daughter, showing her that strength doesn't need to be loud or flashy. The result? A young woman with poise far beyond her years, unshaken by the noise that once surrounded her family name. Over time, fans began to see Suri less as Tom Cruise's daughter and more as a symbol of quiet transformation. In a city where fame is currency, she's chosen normalcy. She walks her own dog, rides the subway, and goes out with friends, activities that might sound ordinary, but for someone raised under intense public scrutiny, are acts of freedom. That doesn't mean her life has been free from challenges. Being connected to two global stars means constant comparisons, even in her absence from the spotlight. People speculate about her relationship with her father, about whether they'll ever reconnect, or if she'll ever follow in his footsteps into film. But Suri seems focused on something bigger, finding peace in the real world, not the one built by headlines. And it's not just her character that's evolving. Her style has, too. In recent years, Suri has been photographed wearing simple, chic outfits, relaxed jeans, soft knits, and vintage-inspired coats that echo her mom's understated taste. There's no trace of the designer baby wardrobe she was once known for. Instead, her choices reflect maturity and intention, a quiet sophistication that's earned her praise from fashion watchers who admire her authentic, effortless look. Some entertainment insiders have speculated that, despite her low profile, Suri might eventually explore a creative career, perhaps in music, fashion, or film production. In 2022, she lent her voice to a song featured in her mother's movie Alone Together, impressing fans with her gentle yet striking vocals. It wasn't a commercial stunt. It was subtle, heartfelt and genuine, much like everything she and Katie do. That small project showed that Suri isn't rejecting creativity. She's simply approaching it on her own terms. Katie Holmes, meanwhile, continues to maintain her daughter's privacy with firm grace. In interviews, she speaks carefully, never oversharing, never dramatizing, but always radiating pride when Suri's name comes up. She's described motherhood as her greatest joy, and it's clear that her bond with Suri remains her most meaningful role to date. What stands out most is how both mother and daughter have rewritten the rules of celebrity family life. Instead of turning their story into a spectacle, they quietly stepped away and redefined what peace looks like. Their strength lies not in loud comebacks or public feuds, but in quiet consistency, choosing growth over gossip, depth over drama, and stability over spectacle. Even after all these years, the world still wonders about Tom Cruise's side of the story. Will he and Suri ever reconnect? Could there be a reunion one day? No one really knows, and that mystery keeps the public intrigued. But one thing is certain. Suri's identity no longer revolves around who her father is. She has built a life that stands firmly on her own choices, not his legacy. In an era when celebrity children often become influencers before they turn 18, Suri Cruise feels refreshingly different. She doesn't court the media, doesn't stage photo ops, and doesn't sell her personal life for attention. That refusal to play the fame game might be exactly why people can't stop paying attention to her. She represents something rare in Hollywood: quiet independence. And while her story began as part of one of the most talked about unions in entertainment history, it's now something far deeper: the journey of a young woman who's reclaiming her own narrative. Suri Cruise has gone from being a tabloid headline to becoming an example of balance, grace, and quiet strength in a world that constantly demands exposure. As she continues to step into adulthood, the spotlight will likely follow. But if her past is any indication, she'll continue to move through it with that same calm composure we saw in those New York photos. Head high, eyes forward, walking toward whatever's next, on her own terms. As Suri Cruise continues to carve out her own path, it's becoming clear she's not just escaping her past. She's rewriting it with quiet confidence. Once known simply as the child of two megastars, she's now building an identity that feels genuine, grounded, and refreshingly normal in a world obsessed with fame and image. In her late teens, Suri began stepping out more frequently, not for premieres or red carpets, but for everyday life. Walking her dog through New York streets, picking up coffee, laughing with friends. These are the moments that now define her story. There's a simplicity in how she carries herself, a calm that speaks volumes about how she was raised. People who spot her often mention her kindness and how she seems completely unfazed by the cameras that once chased her every move. Those small glimpses of Suri's life have fueled endless curiosity, yet she never plays into the spectacle. Unlike so many celebrity offspring who lean into social media fame, Suri remains offline, private, and deliberate. That choice alone has made her a standout in an era where exposure is often mistaken for success. It's a statement, one that says peace and purpose mean more than likes or followers. Katie Holmes deserves credit for helping her daughter stay so centered. After the very public breakup years ago, Katie made sure their new life in New York was built around stability and routine. No bodyguards parading them through paparazzi zones. No media interviews revealing private details. Just life, simple and consistent. Katie once said that her biggest goal was for Suri to grow up feeling loved and free. Judging by how Suri carries herself today, that goal was absolutely met. Now that she's entering adulthood, Suri's choices reflect that same independence her mom modeled. Whether it's her understated fashion sense or her rumored creative ambitions, everything she does feels intentional, not performative. When she lent her voice to a song in her mother's film, Alone Together, fans were stunned by the natural emotion in her voice. It wasn't a commercial debut or a publicity move. It was subtle, authentic, and deeply personal. Some close to the family say Suri has an artistic soul, one that gravitates towards storytelling, design, and music, rather than the bright chaos of celebrity life. She's reportedly attending a college known for its creative programs, where she can develop her craft without being defined by her last name. That alone shows how she's learned to build her identity through effort and authenticity, not inheritance. The public's fascination with her, though, hasn't faded. Every few months, new photos surface, sparking speculation about her relationship with her father or what her next step might be. But those who know Suri best say she doesn't live with resentment or drama. She's simply focused on her future. She's grown up understanding that privacy isn't isolation, it's protection. Meanwhile, Katie Holmes continues to embody quiet resilience. Her life post-divorce hasn't been about revenge or reinvention through spectacle. It's been about building peace. She's balanced film projects with motherhood, turning down work that didn't align with her values, and choosing artistic fulfillment over commercial gain. That example clearly left a lasting mark on her daughter. What makes Suri's story so compelling is how she represents a generation tired of the spotlight's noise. She's not chasing fame, she's redefining what it means to grow up in it. Her calm, grounded presence contrasts sharply with the chaos of Hollywood headlines. And maybe that's exactly why people admire her. She's become a quiet symbol of what it looks like to find balance in a world that thrives on excess. As she turns the page into her 20s, there's a sense that Suri is standing on the edge of her own narrative. Not the one the tabloids wrote for her, but the one she's been quietly shaping all along. Whether she ends up pursuing film, fashion, or a completely different path, one thing is clear: she's doing it her way. And while her father's absence continues to draw questions from the public, Suri seems to have found strength in the family she's built around her, especially with her mother. Together, they've turned what could have been a story of scandal into one of survival, love, and steady growth. There's something poetic about the way Suri moves through the world now, humble, graceful, and unbothered by what others expect. Her life may have started as a global headline, but she's proven that peace can be far more powerful than publicity. In many ways, Suri Cruise has become the rarest kind of celebrity, one who doesn't need fame to shine. In 2024, Suri Cruise finished her first year at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, one of the most respected and selective schools in the country. She's reportedly majoring in fashion design, and people who know her say the choice couldn't be more fitting. Those close to her describe her as focused, kind, and deeply creative, someone who has always gravitated toward art, design, and quiet forms of self-expression. Her brief voice appearance in the small animated project, Happy Hour last August, offered a rare glimpse into her artistic side, subtle, soulful, and unpretentious, much like the young woman she's become. Unlike her parents, who were catapulted to global fame through movies and television, Suri's path seems far more personal, grounded in creativity rather than performance, expression rather than exposure. A family friend once mentioned that Katie Holmes feels immense pride watching her daughter grow, though she remains deeply protective. Letting Suri leave for college was emotional, the first real separation in nearly 2 decades of being inseparable. For years, it had been the two of them against the noise of the world. Now, they're learning how to exist apart, bound not by proximity, but by understanding. Those quiet mother-daughter dynamics took center stage again when recent photos of Suri went viral. Captured outside her New York home, she sat alone on a stone step, dressed in simple clothes, her posture weary, her gaze distant. It was a deeply human moment, one that had nothing to do with luxury or fame. Minutes later, Katie appeared, holding a coffee cup, walking toward her daughter with calm, caring energy. Without hesitation, she sat beside her, spoke softly, and stayed close. The two sat quietly before getting up to walk through the neighborhood, stopping by a small bakery for pastries. To outsiders, it might have looked like just another celebrity sighting, but to those who followed their journey, it was something much more powerful, a rare, genuine display of love and empathy between a mother and daughter who've weathered life's storms in the public eye. It wasn't staged, it wasn't glamorous, it was real, and that's what struck people most. Within hours, the photos spread across entertainment outlets, comment sections filled with emotion, admiration, empathy, and nostalgia. One person wrote, "She's grown up before our eyes." Another commented, "It's strange to feel protective of someone you don't even know, but you can't help it." Others pointed out how Suri looks so much like Katie, yet still carries her father's unmistakable eyes. A reminder that her story, no matter how independent it's become, will always be tied to both sides of her family. These reactions revealed something deeper. People weren't just curious about Suri because of her famous parents anymore. They were drawn to her because she represents something rare in the celebrity world: authenticity. She's not selling anything. She's not chasing fame, and she's not trying to live up to anyone's expectations. Instead, she's just living, quietly, purposefully, and on her own terms. Her decision to pursue fashion design seems almost poetic. After all, Suri was once one of the most photographed children in the world, known for her stylish baby outfits that made headlines before she could even walk. But now, she's flipping that narrative, moving from being dressed by the world to designing for it herself. It's a powerful act of reclaiming her story, transforming what once defined her into a tool for her own creative voice. Katie Holmes, meanwhile, continues to embody quiet grace and resilience. For her, motherhood has always been more than a title. It's been her purpose. Friends say she still checks in with Suri daily, even with college life in full swing. She visits Pittsburgh when she can, and they spend holidays together in New York, keeping their traditions alive. Those simple, ordinary moments, morning calls, coffee chats, shared laughs, mean more to them than any red carpet could. Katie has found peace in the routine of real life. She's continued to work in independent films and theater, staying close to projects that inspire her while keeping her private world guarded. Her entire post-divorce journey has been about rebuilding, not through fame or spectacle, but through stability and love. And Suri's calm, centered spirit is proof that it worked. As for Tom Cruise, his connection with his daughter remains the subject of quiet curiosity. While their relationship appears distant, many hope that time will eventually bridge the space between them. Whether or not that reunion ever happens, it no longer defines Suri's story. She has grown into her own person, confident, private, and free from the narratives that once surrounded her name. Today, Suri stands as a young woman who's transforming the very meaning of fame. In an era where celebrity children often become influencers overnight, she's chosen silence over self-promotion, craft over clout. Her story isn't about rebellion. It's about peace. She's shown that it's possible to come from extraordinary circumstances and still choose an ordinary life, one filled with purpose rather than pressure. The recent images of Suri and Katie walking through Manhattan resonated so deeply because they revealed something universal, that no matter how big the last name, the bond between mother and daughter is what endures. The quiet comfort of that scene, a mom sitting down beside her daughter, sensing her sadness, and simply being there, reminded the world that some of life's most meaningful moments happen far from the spotlight. As Suri steps further into adulthood, she seems poised to create a legacy of her own, one built not on movie premieres or magazine covers, but on creativity, humility, and quiet strength. She may be the child of Hollywood royalty, but she's proving that the most powerful story she'll ever tell is her own. Whether she ends up shaping fashion collections, directing films, or simply living life on her terms, one thing is certain: Suri Cruise has grown into a young woman of grace and depth. Her journey is no longer just about where she came from, but about where she's going. She's not just someone's daughter anymore. She's her own person, standing tall in a world that once tried to define her before she could even speak. And if her past has taught her anything, it's that true strength doesn't come from fame. It comes from knowing who you are, even when the world keeps watching. If you followed Suri's journey and found inspiration in how she's quietly shaped her path, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video for more powerful and inspiring stories. And we'll see you on the next one.